I have this particular friend. Let's call her Sandra. Like many adult friendships, Sandra and I don't see each other often, so we tend to catch up via phone. For a while, when Sandra would call, I would feel hesitancy at her inevitable question. So, what have you been up to? Because you see, Sandra is the kind of friend that always seems to be going on a cool trip somewhere, visiting a new restaurant with a beautifully picked out outfit specifically for the occasion, or going to fun events that I had never even heard of. One day as we spoke, she kindly nagged at me that our hour-long conversation had been mainly about her, and she wanted to know what I had been doing with my life since we last spoke. It was then that I realized that pretty much every time we spoke, I had intentionally avoided the question, "What have you been doing? What have you been up to?" Because I felt that in comparison to her life, my life must look really dull. Back then, I allowed myself to fall into the comparison trap, and it left me feeling embarrassed that I didn't have anything interesting to share. Now that I think about it, anytime I felt that my life was boring was often because I was basing it off of a comparison to others around me. When I was a teenager in high school, I remember sitting on the front porch of my parents' home, scoffing and thinking to myself, "Ugh, my life is so boring. My parents never let me do anything fun, they don't let me go to parties or my friend's house, and we never travel anywhere or do anything interesting." I can't help but smile as I visualize teenage Jessie, because back then, she didn't realize that just as seasons change, so too do our lives have phases. I was trying to live the life of someone else because it seemed to make them happy, and frustrated because I couldn't achieve that. I now realize that I allowed myself to define boring based on the idea that society sold me about what it means to have a good life. Gorgeous sunset. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at these colors. I know that I talk a lot about social media, but it was definitely a huge part of why I constantly fell into the comparison trap by seeing what others were posting about their cool experiences and the things that they were doing, and feeling like it was a sort of bar that I should measure myself up to. Once I was able to let go of that, I was then able to find my own values and redefine what it means to have a meaningful and fulfilled life to me. I am incredibly thankful that in my job as a hospice nurse, I'm constantly faced with the concept of death and dying, because it brings into perspective that even though I'm still in my 20s, it's not about the time that I have left in this world, but rather the intensity of which I live and savor that time. I was recently listening to Dr. Julie Smith's book, Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? And she defines values as the things that you do, the attitude that you do them with, and why you choose to do them. Teenage Jessie allowed her values to be defined by the people around her in order to fit in, but it left her feeling less than, inadequate, and empty. When I finally allowed myself the self-compassion to acknowledge that if my friend Sandra values cultural diversity and exploration, and that's why she finds great joy in new experiences, that's wonderful. She's living her life according to her values. And it doesn't make my life any less Pinterest-worthy because I'm not living someone else's life or doing things to show anyone anything. I remember that when I had Facebook many moons ago, I constantly felt a desire to post something interesting so that I could sort of prove that I did interesting things. But it got to a point that I remember finding myself on the top of a mountain overlooking an incredible view. And my first instinct instead of taking the view in for myself, was to grab my phone so that I could post it to show other people what I was doing. I have children now, and as a mother, my values have changed, just as I mentioned that the seasons change. When Rudy has been ill or we've had financial struggles, my priorities too have changed. Our lives will have ups and downs, and phases that we've never even expected or saw coming. I find much joy in being able to slow down throughout those phases and enjoy the mundane, romanticizing the routine, the ordinary. I absolutely love weekends when Rudy and I cook outside while the kids play and we do absolutely nothing, but just breathe in fresh air, hear the birds sing, and watch our kids play. I love my morning latte before sunrise when all is quiet. It's my me time. And crazy enough, I used to actually hate this, but I now find great joy in cleaning and taking care of our home because I've redefined my values. I now understand what Dr. Julie Smith says when she says that values aren't just the things that we do. It's about the attitude that we do them with and why we choose to do them. So because I value my time with my family, I serve them with love through the small things that I do. This means something like waking up early so that I can read to my kids before I go to work. Taking our meals outside, even though I know it will be more work to clean up, because I find value in time in nature. Putting my phone away throughout the day or during meals because I value the people in my life and I value my own mental and spiritual health. My days are filled with routines and ordinary moments, but I don't take them for granted. I know that my life is not about the time that I have left, but rather the intensity of which I live and savor those moments. If you feel like your life is boring or ordinary, I want to challenge you with a question. Who defines that? And if you feel like you're not living the life that you want to be living, I further want to challenge you to consider what your values are. Remember, it's not just about the things that we do, but how and why we choose to do them. I thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to see more on minimalism and slow living, please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss when I post a new video. And if there's any particular videos that you'd like to see in the future, shoot me an email or drop your suggestion down in the comments below. Again, I thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.